Obviously, Maokai and Elise bans coming through, and then the Sejuani ban from FlyQuest.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see a Karma coming in from FlyQuest later on, just because they have a lot of push bot side anyways. Banning Varus to allow Caitlyn to get free push, I think, is really important and goes to what FlyQuest has been successful with, which is playing through bot lane, giving resources to Prince, and then letting him work in mid-game fights.
Yeah, before this, we were talking about some prop bets of which AD carry would have a higher KDA during this game. Currently, Prince has a 17 KDA coming into this game. FBI has a 16 KDA coming into this game. But securing the Caitlyn early, I think, edges it out for Prince.
Yeah, so, and we're probably still going to see Lucian Nami coming out for EG. My question is do we think it's a Caitlyn for Prince?
Oh.
Or do we think it's a Caitlyn? Do you think Winsome would play support Caitlyn?
No, I don't think so. At least the play that we've seen, the furthest we've seen from Go is just mostly like engaged supports, but no, he's going to be playing mostly Enchanters, which is why I think it's actually safe for him to go Karma. I love the fact that he was hovering over the Amumu, just throwing it out there. He can always do it twice. Lower range on Lucian makes it more of a possibility, I guess, but it's actually the Lux being picked. Any thoughts on Lux overall here? I feel like we haven't seen it too much.
These are some cheeky hovers.
Oh, I want the Nidalee, not for composition or not because I think it's particularly good, but because I think it would be exciting.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they're going to go jungle here, though.
This early?
Just do like...
Bam! No, just like that.
We're doing the typical jungle bot lane trade thus far, unless EG are going to pick their mid as they hover, but my guess is that it's just going to be Nami coming through.
I actually did some digging into this Amumu.
Okay.
Because Spica won with Amumu is a ridiculous statement.
Yes.
But Games of Legends, I checked all of the Amumu games, and they track like tier 2 ERLs and like pretty much everything. Amumu's 7-1.
Ooh.
Yeah, actually, every Amumu who's built Radiant Virtue has won.
I like that.
I'm just saying.
We are Radiant Virtue enjoyers. Yeah.
I'm a Radiant Virtue enjoyer. One of them built the purple one, which is the wrong mythic item. Yeah, Jack Show.
Jack Show, yeah.
But the Radiant Virtue is good. So this actually reveals to me, because there were like 6 jungle bans the last time we played Amumu, but it was also in Devi. So I think this is a pretty preferred matchup at this point for a Spica in Devi. It's cool.
Yeah, and it feels like, just taking a look at this, I like this first phase from FlyQuest overall, because they leave the door pretty open what the rest of the comp is going to be. Caitlyn, Lux, and Amumu doesn't really show too much. I think that Vicla has been quite, really good on Azir. And I like the fact, Emily, that you kind of highlighted his level of play and also just his growth, quoting Wolf there, because I think he's somebody that has been really good in lane, has been trying to push and pressure as much as he can, which actually left him a little vulnerable versus Golden Guardian. So I want to see what he ends up looking towards, but I think mid lane is the one that we end up looking. Which would be the counter pick? Because now that's, maybe it's mid lane?
That is the interesting thing. It's like, what do we think they're going to say for a counter?
Huh. This is complicated because right now FlyQuest with Caitlyn, Lux, Amumu are fairly magic damage heavy, and the Merc Tread's value is really high. So it limits the amount of things that FlyQuest can pick because, you know, Syndra is off the table. Azir is okay, but that is really questionable because then you need your top laner to do a high amount of physical damage, and if you don't have counter pick, that's a hard thing to blind. So lot to be discussed here. I wonder if EG can make any types of counters, and that's why they banned Azir, because Azir wouldn't have been good for FlyQuest in the first place.
But EG was forcing them to ban K'Sante. They had banned the Jax and the Gwen, thinking that, well, of course they wouldn't let us have a K'Sante on 4. So I think the K'Sante comes out pretty easily.
Yeah,
and then
Jax's counter's already banned.
So I would be surprised if they didn't go towards it.
So here's the thing, EG already has a lot of... A blind Jayce? It could be flex. That could be a Jojo Jayce.
We've seen this in the past when you go up against Impact. It seems like it's just a check. They're checking whether or not he's willing to play the counters that force FlyQuest to play topside. Like, Irelia is one thing that most people think about. But I don't think FlyQuest, who's already built towards playing around Caitlyn and Lux, will then change gears this state. So Sion has been the pick in the past versus the Jayce specifically, and there it is.
It's actually so good against those 3 physical damage dealers if he can get through the laning phase and doesn't get dove early. So this is one where Inspired would want to play around Ssumday, which is really interesting because they haven't had many games together, and they're definitely not a team that plays through top, but that's what this draft is telling them to do.
I mean, that's a fun hover. Maybe as the game goes on, you can put, because yes, they actually are questioning the fact that they don't have that much physical damage within their team. They already have an AP jungler, boom. And then later on in mid game, you can then match the Jayce with the Irelia.
Yeah, so it's likely Irelia mid, but it's going to be Vicla playing the Irelia and then matching Jayce side lanes. That's what I think. You could play Sion mid, but I don't think Impact's going to play Irelia.
That would be hilarious. There have been some games where you just get tormented. And so this is the one thing I'm concerned about EG's draft. Very squishy, very volatile in both side lanes, top and bot lane. Whoever doesn't respect the gank will just be sent behind for the rest of the game. So I'm quite concerned about how EG is able to basically play around what is a psychopathic Amumu gank pattern. So that for me is the most interesting thing.
Emily, who do you think won draft?
I mean, FlyQuest is super interesting.
Yeah.
I really love the Sion pick, actually.
Yeah, I think.
And then they're basically thinking that.
What are you thinking?
The push in VODS is what I'm thinking about, actually.
Yeah, I just want to see if Sion can get to late game. I think EG's going to try and snowball this one early because they don't scale that great. But that's going to do it from us at the LCS Lounge. Casters, take it away.
Hell yeah, Jet, that's what we're gonna do. It's time to take it away.
Warmed up and then actually picked tank, so pretty funny. Gonna be excited to see exactly how they want to play this out. You know, we knew it was gonna be Vicla piloting the Irelia.
Yeah.
My kind of question was, you know, would they do anything crazy early? Would they actually swap him to top to try to answer Ssumday, or even have Impact lane the first early levels and then post 6 put Vicla in a side lane actually against Ssumday? Because that can be very, very difficult. But Sion itself is a really good matchup into the Jayce. It's very difficult for Jayce to actually punish against this matchup. You know, in those early levels, it's hard to actually push him out. You know, post 6, he has not only the TP, but the ulti back to lane. He can kind of stay in that stable position.
Yeah.
And if you can't super punish the Sion early, he just becomes a brick wall that Jayce can't push through. And I think this is actually a problem that's exacerbated by the fighter item changes, because you have no Omnivamp, you have no lifesteal on Eclipse anymore. So, you know, any little poke and prod that the Sion could actually get down onto this Jayce makes it that much more difficult for him to stay in lane and actually stay sustained.
And we know how tanky Sion gets just for free, right? Like, it's not common to see the power of the Soul Furnace with the passive health stacked up into 4 digits as the game goes on. So, especially for a player like Impact, who knows how to maximize his farm, make sure he's not missing minions that he should otherwise get, this could become difficult as the game goes forward. But Ssumday is the kind of guy that you would trust to be able to push an advantage on Jayce if he can get one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he definitely is that kind of player. You know, I just wonder, you know, were they expecting the Sion, or were they thinking, you know, he's just going to walk a Cassante into my Jayce, and that's a matchup that maybe he's more comfortable in playing. Right. The Sion is not something that we see a lot of, but it is one of those picks that Impact always has ready. He's got basically every tank on lock. You know, if it's a good situation for the Shen, he's going to bust it out. If it's a good situation for something like that Sion, he's going to bring it out here as well. And every Q that you can land, I mean, that was a fully charged knockup, but you'll see a lot of good Sions just do the partial charged ones where they don't get the knockup, but they just get poke. That, you can pop your W, walk at him, you know, just get that pop damage on him. The E knock through on minions for poke damage. There's actually like a fair bit of damage that Sion can chunk away onto a Jayce, and that can become problematic again because you don't have Omnivamp in your Mythic that you're going to be going for anymore.
And I think that's one of the best displays of mastery for Sion as an individual champion, is the ability to always get the maximum possible amount of time out of your Q charge, because the icon, the indicator for the AoE is not completely honest. It goes a little bit further. It goes a little bit further, but here in mid lane, Jojo's gonna get ganked. Bandage toss goes in, but Inspire's ready to hit back. Jojo walks away with 100 HP, and Vicla and Spica do not want to try to force anything harder.
But at the end of the...
Oh, never mind! Vicla's ready to go! Jojo can talk that trash all day! Vicla puts him out on the curb!
Nicely done. I was just about to say, you know, they went positive on that play with that chunk. Vicla still had passive fully stacked. They're going to TP it back in. They're going to try to punish here on the push. Will Spica come and actually cover? He does have Q flash, but no way you can actually go for it there. So he's going to try to at least freeze the wave, you know, force him to not be able to fully reset it, but he should be able to get this in. We'll see if Jojo wants to pull to the side. Either way, great job by Vicla. You know, finds the window there to actually finish him off with the W after Jojo has flashed.
Yeah, the Irelia W can do a lot of damage once it's charged up. So let's take another look at everything all the way back to the start of the play with the gang.
Yeah, I mean, Jojo actually did a really good job. He sidesteps the E, then he sidesteps the bandage toss, but the second bandage toss connects, it actually gets him very, very low. And that's where it starts to get bad. I mean, Jojo, credit to him for really good fingers on those sidesteps, but it's a Q to the minion, flash Q. It's responded to very quickly from Jojo, but then the windup on the W is there, and he's able to finish him off.
And so the big thing that I'm watching about this, after we get past this initial part again here with us watching from Vicla's point of view, everything's chilling, everything's cool here. Watch what he does right now. he primes that minion. He already had this plan ready to go. He knew that that minion had to be low enough to give himself the reset. He sets himself up perfectly. I love that level of awareness.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something you'll see all great Irelia players will do, is constantly prepping those range minions, and every time they're walking forward, every time they're threatening to that, they can always use that as the gap closer here, and Ssumday now got to be careful. If he dies, it is going to be really rough. We'll be able to backstep there and get away, so gonna be feeling good about that. But Impact's in a great spot. The wave is actually still coming towards Impact, and when you can stall the wave out in this sort of a position as a tank, this is like your happy place.
Oh yeah, this is the dream world.
Exactly, you cannot be ganked here, and you are gonna have that Jayce in an awkward spot. You can see Ssumday is starting to get a little bit lower on mana, so Impact doing great in these early levels here already.
Inspired hanging out here in the bottom side of the map. He will be able to take that bottom river scuttle crab. Impact will finally not be able to freeze the wave any further, so it will crash into the turret. Gonna reset here, and this should also give Ssumday the opportunity to go back and shop. He is recalling on a ward, but Impact doesn't really have a big way to stop that, so that means it completes.
But this is actually great from EG. They have bot prio here, with Lucian Nami early on. They're just going to start up this dragon instantly on spawn. We'll see if Spica can steal it. This is big if he can.
Oh, nice attempt. But an even better smite for the secure coming out from Inspired. Now, what can Vicla and FlyQuest find? Vicla, you already flashed earlier, buddy. Hold on now, evil geniuses punish FlyQuest for getting too aggressive. Oh! Beautiful two-man bubble coming out of Vulcan, as now they might just be able to find a third. Inspired with the flash away, Spica with a flash follow. The shield's coming out. Spica's gonna take Inspired with them. Gonna get Vulcan too. No! It's a double kill back over to Jojo, and EG strikes back.
Vulcan was talking trash on Twitter. Prince, don't get mad at Winsome after the support gap, and he flashes forward, finds the double bubble here. It's a bit of an overchase, and you can see there's not much vision here whatsoever from the FlyQuest side. We know Jojo is coming out of base, though, and Jojo's coming down from here. That was very, very close to being able to get it. Actually, Spica didn't have smite, so never mind. He wasn't going to be able to ever really get that, so they're more setting up for the fight. I think they just did not expect that Jojo was going to be there that quickly, so Vicla going forward, he's saying, all right, well, it's just an Lucian, Inspired's going to be running. He's not going to have that much in the tank, but Jojo arrives. That really is the difference maker, and then Vulcan, they're flashing forward, finding the double bubble. When that passive came off cooldown for Inspired there, and he gets that passive shield, I thought he was going to live, but Spica was getting a lot of work done in this fight. At the end of the day, though, Jojo already had a 9 or 10 CS lead prior. He gets 2 kills from this and a red buff. So any advantage that Vicla got from that kill early on is completely gone.
Yeah, things were feeling good earlier for FlyQuest, but it has just swung even stronger the other way for Evil Geniuses. They now have almost a 500 gold lead, and they secured that Hex Tech Drake, which is another nice bit of stats. Ability haste and attack speed, useful for everybody.
Absolutely, and I would say it's actually even more important than average here to actually get this Victor to a really strong start, because he's their only form of magic damage. He's really the only good threat here for this Sion later on. Sion is going to totally stack armor. Sion is going to be a brick wall to the Jayce, to the Caitlyn, to the Vi. So, if Victor's having a bad game, you've really got no answer. You've got no way to push through that. So Jojo has to have a good start here, and now is well on his way to doing that.
Spica looking for the potential gank here in bottom lane. They get the binding from Winsome. Follow it up with a bandage toss. More damage pours through, but not enough for the kill just yet. There they get it. Prince is going to pick up that as Spica walks his way out of the gravity well. Chaos Storm takes him low, but it won't take him out. FlyQuest get one for nothing.
Yeah, the attempted roam there from Jojo is just preempted by the gank from Spica. So Jojo unfortunately can't get much of anything. Got to be careful here for Inspired, and he will. He was trying to hold the wave, I think, for Jojo. Not going to be able to do that, so we'll pick up some of the farm.
I mean, Irelia is full build. The Vamp Scepter's complete.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
It's pretty hard to hold the wave against him at that point. But yeah, good play coming out from the side of FlyQuest, setting it up for Spica to make it happen down there. Landing the Lux binding into the Amumu Q. There's just so much CC coming out from those guys. You can put a Caitlyn trap down afterwards. Once one hits, the rest of them are going to hit. Yep,
exactly. And Jojo, despite getting those 2 kills, you went for CDR boots as your first buy. He doesn't really have a lot of damage behind the ulti at this point in the game, right? He drops the full combo there onto Spica, but Spica has enough with just the giant spell and base stats to really be able to survive through that. Spica, though, just hit 6. Jojo doesn't know it. If he gets stunned up, he is potentially going to get 100 to 0'd here, but FlyQuest not going to pull the trigger as Vulcan shows. They realize that there could be a little bit of vulnerability here. And you can see all the FlyQuest pings and question marks over on the Herald. So they want to start up the Herald. They actually move their bot lane up towards it. The question is, will EG contest? I don't think so. But then really they should have had their bot just go straight back down towards bot lane likely and push that out because they're getting nothing for it.
Yeah, the Herald ends up going the way of FlyQuest for not a whole lot back on EG's side.
Yeah.
Jojo will now be taking up the bottom lane, securing the farm there and getting that one pushed out. You can see some extra minions lined up on both sides. Doesn't have the double hit laser yet, so not the instant wave clear that Victor will have later on in the game. And you can see EG bringing some more bodies up here into the top lane as Winsome and Prince push the wave up into the turret.
Yeah, I mean, there was literally one melee minion that was lost by impact bot lane. He just ults down to actually cover that wave. So that's usually where the answer is that you shove down bot, you force your opponents to lose waves if they rotate up towards the Herald. In this case, they didn't actually do that, so losing nothing there. And it's actually FlyQuest who gets a plate top and the Herald, so they're massively ahead off of that little play. Definitely a nice advantage gain. We'll see how much they can get with the Herald itself, because they're already out here to a 600 gold lead. And if they can get a big cash in, it's going to make a big difference this early on.
That was one of my criticisms of Cloud9 in the last game. The Heralds didn't seem particularly effective, kind of just let the timer ran out, get the default answer from them instead of being able to get any more. So we'll see how much priority FlyQuest places on grouping up and playing around those, or if they do just want to go for the, hey, just get the plate damage, grab whatever you can. Use it as a distraction, because there is a second Drake live now. Mountain Drake is around. EG already got that first Hex Tech Drake for themselves. I'm curious if FlyQuest wants to fight for this second one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big question on everyone's mind is they're going to let the Nami ulti rip here. Not going to connect onto Vicla. I think they thought he was going to step a little bit further forward, and they wanted to get that big chunk. I think they were hoping that it was either a kill or a big enough chunk that they could then get a guaranteed 5v4 at that dragon to secure it for themselves. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Sion is pushing top with TP advantage. So EG was kind of in this situation where they had to force, right? It looks a little bit funny, but you see Sion is pushing top with TP. Jayce has no TP, Jojo has no TP, so they had no one to answer. So the only way they could really attempt Dragon is if they got a pick prior to it, and that's why they hard forced there on Vicla.
And the thing we have to remember as well is this is not 14 minutes yet. Teleports are still not unleashed, so anybody who does teleport down to join one of these fights will not be able to join directly. They'll have to go to the nearest turret, spend another 5 seconds or so walking over to the dragon fight itself. Herald's going to be summoned up here in the bottom lane. Should be able to grab 2 plates guaranteed from this one. Prince and Winsome might be able to get even more here as Jojo's hanging around, but he is the only one still here.
Yeah, no start just yet. I wonder if FlyQuest is actually just waiting for Impact to have his ulti. You talked about no unleashed TP, but if Sion has an ulti, you can just TP towards mid lane tier 1 and then ult straight into the fight, and that can be a pretty effective way to join. So potentially waiting for that, or just waiting to actually get a buy. I assume that Mythic should be completed here for Prince on base, given that they got the crash in. They want to get those first items done. Demonic Embrace was just finished up there. Inspired, though, going to try to preempt the play, and he's on this dragon already. We'll see how quickly he can get it done, though, because Spica's running straight out there from base, and no one is really helping Inspired, so it's going to take him a while.
Vulcan will be seen by some of the control wards there of FlyQuest. Inspired's already got this Drake down to 30% of its health.
It's gone.
Yeah, there's not really a contest going to show up here, so good heads up from EG, recognizing this was an easy opportunity to take it.
I'm honestly a little bit surprised that FlyQuest didn't elect to actually try to go for it at all. Because they did have TP advantage. They could have that 5v4 type play that they could set up, but not feeling pressured to do it. They're just more concerned about stacking their gold advantages, pushing, trying to get these plates chipped away at. All their major items are coming through. I already mentioned the Gale Force was going to be completed. That's done. Blade of the Rune King's done. Demonic Embrace is done. So a lot of things coming through here now for FlyQuest. And they are trying to threaten to die, but this is risky. Jojo's arrived.
Oh, Vicla, man. That was not lined up the way they needed it to be. Spica tries to grab, but he won't get it. Still burning. He does. He manages to collect it thanks to the DOT and the Demonic Embrace. Winsome dies to FBI, and EG just mopped up everybody. That was sloppy from FlyQuest.
Like fish in a bucket there. FlyQuest go for the play, but EG had the read. They're trying to dive Inspire, but he's not solo. Jojo's heading straight down. Vulcan is there, and honestly, they're lucky that they actually had that last little bit of dot damage to finish off Jojo, because Vulcan flashed in, Summoner healed him, then healed him with that W, and I thought it was going to be enough to actually keep him alive, and that would have been a total disaster.
Super close, man. Super, super close. The fight does end up giving Jojo enough money to get his Leandries. Let's take another look at how they did this, because it was Vicla ready to start this off.
Yeah, Vicla just says, oh, you're going to come straight at me? I'm just going to dive you. Spica's coming, Winsome's coming, Prince is coming. But you look at the map, everyone else is coming down here from EG. They go straight in. Inspire just ults him. Look at that flash, summoner heal, W, Airy, everything actually landing down onto Jojo, and just barely the final ticks there do actually shut him down. That is a big kill swinging back, but an easy one for FBI, picked up on Winsome. They get multiple kills under the turret. So it is EG who are still getting more from this, and they're actually ahead now in the gold. They have 2 dragons to 0, and it is an ocean dragon, which is quite a strong one to grab. It's going to help them out potentially in the side lanes a lot here.
FlyQuest is going to want to clean up some of these plays. Feels like they're getting a little bit too jumpy on thinking they can just make anything happen, and EG's doing a good job reading them and counterplaying it. As the Nami wave fires out, won't hit Winsome. And so that means that EG can't get the follow-up there from the Vi. Not really a whole lot they can take down here in the bottom half of the map. In the meantime, yeah, there's a Scuttle Crab, but that's about all you're going to get. No Drake for another 2.5 minutes. Baron will be active in 5 minutes from now, but the Herald is about to spawn here in the next 15 seconds.
Yeah, it is interesting. You know, I think people will probably be memeing some of the Vulcan ults, you know, they're trying around mid lane, but I actually don't really mind it. He was looking for a reset anyway. So if you're going to go on a reset, you look for that type of play, you know, maybe you get something. At the very least, you're going to be able to get free push there in mid. He resets, he gets back out on the map, and by the time he arrives back, his ulti cooldown is half done. He may be missing it for this fight, though, if there is actually going to be a scuffle breaking out. So we'll see if Inspired, you know, wants to even take a fight here. EG instead could just look to just shove it up mid and just accept that they're going to lose. The Herald continue to look stacking towards that dragon, and I think that is the smarter answer. They didn't really have an inside track to get there. You know, Ssumday was already zoned out by impact. They had no vision in the river, so it would have been a really risky play.
Well, there are no turrets taken yet by either side in this game, but the 2 side lane tier 1s of EG are very, very close to death. You can even see the icons on the minimap mostly empty there, as opposed to their counterparts on FlyQuest that still have a large amount of HP remaining. So for FlyQuest, I want to see him use this Herald to just grab first turret bonus. Get yourself something to work with here.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. I mean, when you're picking Caitlyn, that's really what you're looking to do. Caitlyn Lux want to be having that constant push, want to be knocking down towers. Bot lane tier 1 is a guaranteed kill if they want to actually drop it there. Top lane tier 1 also very, very low, so they should be able to get something for sure with this. In fact, Impact's actually just going to take the solo first turret there, so that is really, really good for him. Already has the Sunfire Aegis completed, and Spica walking out here with that Herald mid. Doesn't have too much time, so it looks like it will be a commitment to just dropping it mid. They're going to try to push back FBI, who's now on his lonesome and likely won't really be able to stop him.
Vicla probably has it fresh in his mind that he's got to be careful when he's diving people down here in this bottom lane now. So we'll keep an eye on how that goes here in the 1v1 matchup. These 2 dead even in farm, so neither mid laner really being able to pressure the other one away from the resources that they should just be passively collecting. It is Jojo with a massive advantage in terms of the kills, having 4 compared to only the 1 of Vicla. But FlyQuest now, you said it, buddy. They're going to use that Herald in mid lane. They're going to utilize the power of the Caitlyn and the Lux, and they're pushing. Bring Sion down here as well, get the Demolish proc, and there we go. That is the 2nd turret of the game brought down now by FlyQuest.
And look at the timing on this. This is actually really, really nice because it's right time before that dragon, right? Dragon's about to spawn here, so they crack mid. Sion shows up. Everyone moving down and arriving right at this time. Arelia is also pushing bot meanwhile. In fact, will get chunked out by this culling, but Arelia is going to take the tier 1 boss. This is going to be triple tier 1 across the map here very, very quickly for FlyQuest, and we'll see if EG can actually force this dragon, because it means if they started from this position, Sion could be coming from one angle, Arelia could be coming from behind you. It does get pretty dicey, but they really want to get this 3rd dragon. They invested heavily into the early dragon stacking, and they've got to be able to get something from it.
All right, FlyQuest clearing out the wards as they move their way in from the jungle ramp. Ssumday wants to get this blue before any sort of a fight starts out if he can. Pretty low on mana right now, so needs the regeneration to spam these spells.
Also worth noting, Impact, he got chunked, but he just TP'd straight back, so the culling and everything was spent. Doesn't really get much of anything. EG now going to leash it, but it is Jojo having to mark Vicla, who is threatening from behind. And they could get pincered on because Amumu's trying to wrap around. They're going to go for Vicla instead.
Vicla's the one getting jumped on. He just gets collapsed, and evil geniuses find him again. After that first play, after that first blood, Vicla's Irelia has never been able to find his angles.
No, and this is really bad for FlyQuest because he dies there. They committed TP from Impact. They committed everything to really kind of build up to this moment in the game where they're going to say, all right, we're going to challenge at the 3rd dragon. This is where we draw our line in the sand. We stop that march towards Soul that EG has been getting. But EG has been preempting these plays, And FlyQuest, you know, has not been ready, I think, for those responses. I think they were thinking about it like Vicla's going to chill bot. He's going to come from behind them. But if we watch that replay, Vicla pushes a little bit past that river. Jojo's actually in the tri-brush, so it's Jojo that's wrapping around on him. It's EG that are preempting that play, catching him out and taking him down, getting themselves to soul point here at only 19 minutes. I mean, if they can cash in on a 25-minute soul, that's hard to come back from.
It's very, very strong. I mean, FlyQuest, yes, they have a gold advantage, but it's about 800 gold. Each individual dragon's about 1,000 worth of stats. So let's see what Vicla thought was going to happen here.
So, I mean, he sees the ward getting cleared out. Like, that's fully on vision. He knows that this is happening. But then it's Jojo just wrapping around behind him. And Vicla just not paying the respect. He wants to go for this wave, but it is very, very greedy. You know someone could be here. You're moving all the way into the range minions there. It's just way too far.
Yeah.
FBI just dashes in. There's no way you're getting this kill. Perfect CC from Vulcan. You know, preempted that stun with his ult coming through, and then the bubble's layered there. Jojo's behind you, no way out. Greedy boy gets punished.
Disrespect's a hell of a drug, and Vicla is going to need to head to rehab after that one because there's just no way you can be making those plays against
the minions. They're addictive.
Yeah, man, it's something that you just want to. Hey, just one more wave, but it's not something you can do in the face of a squad like EG because these guys are ready to go up against this squad that has been terrorizing the Rift here in the first couple of weeks. Remember, it was FlyQuest and Cloud9 that everybody was counting at the top of the table. They went head-to-head last week. FlyQuest destroyed Cloud9, and now up against Evil Geniuses, EG's putting up the best fight against them so far.
Absolutely. Everyone's saying, what about us? Forgot about EG? You know, we're a team here at the top of the table that is also really looking competitive. And EG, I think, had a bit of a slower start than people were expecting. And people started to feel, well, maybe that loss of impact really is hurting them. Maybe not having impact means they don't have that same strong voice coming from the top lane. You know, Ssumday is an incredible individual player, but not known for being that kind of dominant shot caller, that really active person in comms that Impact is. So people started to doubt EG a little bit here, but they're showing that they're definitely ready to go and now laying a trap for Impact, but he is very tanky.
Tanky boy. Impact, can we get out of here?
Yep.
Yes, we can. The Sion ulti, very powerful disengage tool. You gotta get somebody's body in front of him, otherwise he's gone. So EG won't be able to get a whole lot out of that one. They spent 3 ults trying to get him, but now what else might they be able to find here? They're ready to try to collapse. Ssumday's coming around from the side. Winsome's already got the kill on his spiders. FBI tries to flash away. He's gonna be taken down by Vicla. FlyQuest finally get a fight, and the rewards are massive. They're gonna head on over to Baron.
Yeah, they're gonna go straight for this Baron here. Impact's low, but he can TP right back. It's just Ssumday and Vulcan. Not much they can really do about this as FlyQuest finds the angle to just crack open EG, coming from multiple different angles there. You know, Vicla gets in behind onto the carries, and they get roasted just like that. They're up 4K with the Baron buff. Huge swing now from FlyQuest. That one team fight meaning so much, especially because it's right beside the Baron.
It's right beside the Baron, and the Baron is now going to last all the way through the potential soul spawning to shut down even more of EG's win con. So let's see how it started.
Yeah, so it all starts a lot earlier out here. You can see FlyQuest pushing up through mid. EG look for this pick over onto Impact, but Impact's just able to ult out of there. You know, he's able to get out, no problem. Yes, he gets chunked down. Then FBI commits the ult. He gets very little onto Spica. His dash is forced, but it's all about this TP. This ward right here at the top of your screen, that's Vicla coming in right now. He's gonna arrive, come in from the top, and it's all about these multi-angle fights. FlyQuest coming in from everywhere, and it's so difficult to maintain your battle lines in that situation. They were looking to attack this squad of Winsome, Spica, and Prince, but all of a sudden, Vicla's in from one side with the flash ulti. Impact's coming in from the other side. There's nowhere for Jojo and FBI to go, and once they're on top of you like that, there's no fighting your way out of that situation.
And that's sort of what we saw Vicla wanting to be able to do in the previous fight where he gets caught pushing the minion wave. If Irelia gets a flank, if she can come in from the angle and be this just sort of disruptive force in your back lines, she's doing her job exactly right.
Absolutely, but now the wheels have kind of fallen off for EG. It feels like they need to almost get this dragon or they're in big trouble. Vulcan now.
Oh boy, Vulcan's already gone, man. Impact setting it up there with a little bit of extra damage from Prince thanks to the ace in the hole. And now you're gonna see, there comes Spica. Bandage toss is gonna get inspired through the flash. Prince picks up a killing spree. And FlyQuest taking out the enemy jungler guarantees no soul today.
I feel like this game is almost just over at this point now. It seems funny to stay with them still on soul point, but you get the Baron, you win that big team fight. Now all of a sudden you don't have the soul as a win condition here. They have no damage to actually punch through Impact. That one team fight really kind of took away their opportunities here. And it just feels like now FBI is so far behind the curve. You know, he's not able to threaten them. The only person who can threaten the Sion whatsoever is Jojo. And even then, he's going to take a long time to actually knock down this Sion.
Yeah.
And it just seems like EG just keep finding Sion, keep going for Sion, keep putting damage into him, and accomplishing nothing with it.
I mean, there's just no way that engaging on this guy can be the right option at this point, right? I mean, even when they had him, quote-unquote, dead to rights in the jungle, 3v1, he can just get away. So unless the situation is entirely perfect, and even in the amount of resources you have to put into him, I don't think it's worth it.
It's very, very difficult, and I think that's where, you know, Impact is deserving of some credit. He's putting himself in these situations where he is kind of forcing them to either take damage from him for free or do something about it, right? You know, he just walks over to the Dragon Pit, Fly shows up, he just starts fighting, right? And then they're going to fire back, they're going to try to get something done. But Impact is just creating so much pressure. The Sion pick has been doing such a good job for them. You know, Ssumday wasn't really able to pull it in lane whatsoever, and now he has just become this brick wall. You know, I thought EG had enough where they were really kind of in control of those early stages, where they would be able to potentially snowball to the soul, you know, use that as a way to kind of spring forward in this game and take that as a win condition. But FlyQuest winning that one fight has bought them so much time because they got a massive gold lead, they got the Baron, now they got a Dragon, and EG are just going to be kind of playing for scraps.
Old man Impact playing tanks. It is a staple of the LCS for years and years now, and I think it probably will be until Impact just decides he's finally done playing tanks. Yeah. Because this man, he's got the experience. You already talked about his champ pool earlier. It's not like he only plays one or two of them. He knows how to play the entire archetype of character. And it's always a good time watching him. But EG have to dig in now. They've got to find some sort of a way to defend against this. They got to find some sort of a way to fight back. A lot of it's got to be Jojo, like you're saying. The AoE power of the Victor, still only on 2 fully completed items, however, means he's not just going to be able to chew through and delete any body that he hits with a double E plus R.
Yeah, it becomes very difficult. It's also a really tough game for Inspired, because he doesn't have a dive buddy, you know? So it's very, very difficult. If they catch someone out in a side lane by themselves, sure, then you can kind of just pile in on them, but in an actual 5v5, like, what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to try to run past Impact and ult the backliner?
Goes with you.
Yeah, like, you got nothing, right? Unless someone gets already way chunked down, and then maybe you can finish them off. But I think Impact is just going to be such a brick wall that no one can ever follow past him and the Amumu. Like, your carries can't run through Amumu and Sion and Irelia to try to get to the Caitlyn. It's just not going to happen. You're just going to die. So, you know, you're kind of just relegated to almost using your ultimate to peel. And then at this point, it feels like it's all eggs in the Jogo basket. You're praying that he gets the Void Staff, that he gets the Death Cap, and somehow FlyQuest are all stacked up, and he can kind of just like AoE win a fight, you know, like be able to actually get so much damage down on this 3 melee squad that they can win. Barring that, it's very hard to see someone like Lucian getting anything done versus this Sion.
I mean, and Vi has 1 fully completed item. That is it, right?
Yeah.
You're up against 3 fully completed items, one of which is Infinity Edge on a Caitlyn.
Yeah.
You're dead in, like, what, 4 auto attacks?
And he has BT, so, you know, he's kind of chilling. He's not even going to be worried about poke from the Jayce. You know, the Jayce has been pretty worthless, it feels like, this game. We'll see if Ssumday's going to be able to find, you know, any windows to try to get something done later on. Spica is going to spot Inspired there, and EG are trying to play bodyguard here in the jungle, try to maintain this line of vision, because they know if they give up all their vision in their jungle, they're not going to be able to check that Baron.
Ooh, forcing the flash out of Winsome there, so Vulcan at least gets some value out of the ulti. But now Vicla's ready to start the fight. He goes in so early again. Vicla, this is like the 4th, 5th, 6th time, man. Spica's trying to cover now. He's going to be in the front. Damage on his own, but Impact makes his way into the back line. Prince grabs the kill and Inspire, and Evil Geniuses will find no more. Prince flashes forward and grabs a double kill. Now looking to find even more after, with the shutdown from Vulcan over the wall. FBI still alive, but Impact flashes in to guarantee that won't last. Spica wants some more, but he only lands Bandage Toss into the minion wave. Ssumday and Vulcan. Vulcan has no mana. It's essentially Ssumday versus everybody, and FlyQuest walks it back.
Man, what a crazy fight there. Vulcan honestly going off on the Nami. Had so many clutch bubbles there. The perfect bubble onto Impact to actually buy time for Jojo to get away and not just get CC chain and die 100 to 0 right off the bat. Early in the fight, he forces the flash with Winsome before that scuffle even broke out with his ult. Then another perfect bubble, you know, peeling at the end over the wall to help them take down Prince. Vulcan played this fight like perfectly, and they still lost it. As soon as Jojo goes down, just no one can hurt Impact anymore. And Vicla, again, as you say, he just went way too early. Look at his teammates on this bottom side. Prince is way down here, and he's going in very, very fast. But Vicla goes down, and they say, you know what? We can actually just make it happen anyway. And now FBI trying to go forward. Watch this bubble from Vulcan onto Impact. Jojo sidesteps it, the knockup is going to be coming immediately. He gets that bubble right out of the charge there onto him, and then the knockaway from Ssumday. And then as they're cutting back, Prince just says, I can just go in. He flashes forward, but then Vulcan over the wall, positions to the side, lands another bubble, and finishes off Prince. If you don't kill Prince there, they take Baron. So that is actually so big that they're able to get it. And now, FlyQuest back to live. They take another dragon here. Not able to stop him. Jojo's got to run. He's kind of in a dicey spot, to be honest.
And it's so easy to take the Drakes like that when you have Caitlyn as your AD carry or like a high-level Tristana that can just fire over the wall at it, never put yourself in a vulnerable position. So they know they
break his shield.
Yeah, the entire culling almost breaks Soul Furnace. Almost.
That is so depressing. But the Vicla's gonna look for it.
That's a tough way to be. Vicla goes in.
Inspired!
Wave comes out. Inspired may have been able to find the target here with the Prince, but they can't finish him off. Now FBI's way too far forward. Now Ssumday's getting killed next. It's a double kill back over to Prince, and FlyQuest don't want to stop. Jojo tries to get away with Spica, Impact, Prince, and Winsome all chasing down. Prince veers off, looking to put the damage into Vulcan, forces the flash into the EG support. It's 2-0 for FlyQuest, and Baron is on the table.
Yeah, it just looked like they decided we're gonna full send it for Prince, and they went deep to try to get him, but they weren't able to do it. He stays alive. Inspired goes in with the ulti. FBI is just diving deep, trying to take him out. But he just gets ulted up by Amumu and just dies instantly, and now it's another free Baron here for FlyQuest, back-to-back Dragons. Now this game is so far in their favor now.
Yeah, 9.7 thousand gold ahead of Evil Geniuses. I like the fact that the Geniuses are still looking for something. I like the fact that they're saying, all right, look, this is a 2% play, but those are kind of all we got as options now.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? If your read is that the game is over if we don't get a massive play, then you have to just go for it.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't feel like it was as desperate as that they had to force there. You know, I still felt like maybe you could just sit back and pray that, you know, Jojo could kind of carry that game. You know, they decided to just full send it, but it's so tough to actually dive Prince. I feel like it's such a low chance that you're able to dive past Amumu and Sion and Irelia to be able to kill Prince. There's a follow-up is just never going to be there. So it felt like a bit of an overforce to me, but clearly EG's read was we kill Prince or we lose, and that's what they went for.
Well, now they've got to deal with a Baroned up FlyQuest for the next 2 minutes. Ace in the hole firing off from way downtown, takes out, you know, third of Vulcan's health. And FlyQuest have Impact and Prince here in the bottom lane. Impact has around, what, 4.5 thousand HP? He's pretty tanky boy.
Yep.
And FlyQuest are just going to force this one down. Prince has all of the space in the world that he needs to take it out. Impact still just takes no damage from anything.
I mean, there's just no way. Lucian just cannot hurt this character. He's immune to damage. Like, what are you going to do?
Bullets barely move.
Takes 40 shots to break his shield. Like, it's only Jojo. But Jojo literally needs a death cap before he's going to be any threat to speak his
I think Jojo might have more worries in his mind right now. Isaac, they're putting the damage right back into FlyQuest, though. Vicla's taken low. Prince gets a killing spree back onto Inspired. And now Jojo takes Vicla down. Jojo can't get away. Vulcan's going to go next. Prince is going for it, a triple kill back over to the Caitlyn. And FBI, the lone man standing, he jumps back in, he gets baited and outsmarted. The ace coming out for FlyQuest, coming out for Spica, and they take down EG 32 minutes into the game.
Prince had the stopwatch the whole damn time, just waiting for it. FlyQuest 5 straight wins, continuing their dominance here. This one really strong stuff from most of the team. You know, Vicla, I think, not having his best outing, but yeah, Prince looking bulletproof as always. Spica and Impact looking really good on the top side. Impact just looked completely untouchable on the Sion. EG had no answer for him whatsoever here. This guy was just straight up bulletproof.
It was massive top diff this game. And it feels weird to say that when Ssumday is the other top laner, because Ssumday is also historically such a good top laner in the LCS. Yeah. But the Jayce, we never saw any of those moments where Jayce is just like, oh no, there's no way you can get anywhere near me. Meanwhile, Sion's a doop-de-doo, just walking into people, takes no damage from anyone at any point for any reason. And it's really hard to move around and maneuver a team fight when this guy just randomly moves himself as a directional wall and stops you.
I mean, he's just walking straight at you, creating that space for Prince. It's very difficult. And despite the fact that you do have Vi, that's kind of your pick potential or whatever, there's no dive buddy, so there's no way